here, Alexander Rodriguez here for On the Rocks radio show, where celebrities and cocktails mix, and tonight the spirits will definitely be mixing. We are kicking off Halloween with pumpkin spice lattes and yoga pants. Actually, vodka and male Spanx. We don't do anything small around here, so literally we are bringing you Halloween's best from TLC's Kindred Spirits, now in its second season. Paranormal investigators Amy Bruni and Adam Berry. We have actor, fighter, musician Aleks Paunovic, 6'5", by the way, from Syfy's Van Helsing, CW's iZombie, War for Planet of the Apes, and so much more. We even have a picture of him fighting Anthony Hopkins. Hot stuff here. We have clairvoyant, musician, reality TV personality, yes, you've seen him on Real Housewives of Orange County, Scott Cruz, and my designated driver for tonight, my guest co-host Michael Ferrera. Let the drinks begin.
Thank you for being
Boulevard.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, coming at you from Sunset Gower Studios in the heart of Hollywood, where I drink with your favorite celebrities and we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and that's about it. So pop a cork, pour a glass, lean back, and enjoy On the Rocks every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Universal Broadcasting Network.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Hear myself. There I am. Chris, bring me in, please. It's my own damn show. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays. It would be number one if I got gifts, though. Why don't we give gifts on Halloween? It's so rude. But I love Halloween and ghosts and gay ghosts when they say boo, boo, boo. There's silence here. I'm so excited tonight because I'm obsessed with the paranormal, mediums, especially if they have muscles, and of course horror shows on TV. And tonight we have something for everyone, for the ladies and the men's. And speaking of the ladies, Alex, we just have to start the show off. We have this poor girl. It's 2 a.m. her time. We have Lori Williams, and she just wants a quick shout out. Can you say hi to Lori?
Lori, get to bed. It's 2 a.m.
She'll be like, with you, sir. Ah!
I'm coming to get you. Hey, by the way, I'm already out of my vodka.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, you're 6'5". We should have given you, we should have
like,
given you the big tumbler.
That's a co-host function.
Yeah.
Bartender / co-host.
Anyway, hi, Lori. There is your shout out. We got lots of fan questions for you, Alex. We're going to be answering. Hello to our listeners around the nation on iHeartRadio, Universal Broadcasting Network, Player FM, Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn, Satchel, Google Play, and of course we are streaming live on Facebook, on Hillcrest Social in San Diego, True FM in Ohio, and nationally on Reverie Network, and now Barreled Magazine, roar. Check out my Barreled Magazine interviews and fun movie reviews. In fact, this last week was one of my most interesting interviews that I did, and that was with Mr. Scott Cruz. So check that out. My reviews of Orville and the new Star Trek are coming out this week. Oh, I die. Alex, we need to get you on that new Star Trek.
Did you like it?
I loved it, and I don't like anything.
He doesn't like
for
anything.
Schindler's List, I was like, it was okay.
I thought for sure you were about to trash Star Trek.
No, it was so
great.
good.
No, I
It's
heard
good.
it was great. I didn't get a chance to look at it, but I have some really good friends that are big fans of it, and they loved it.
Well, we need to see you on there.
All right, we'll do it.
Especially one of those uniforms.
They just need to know how to find it, though.
Well,
It's on that weird CBS
and everybody's
All
complaining,
Access
oh my
channel.
God, it's $8.99 a month. You spend more on a drink. I know that. Yeah. So just do it. For our audio listeners, you can check out the video stream. So you're missing out on all the action here and all the muscles and the beauty today. You can see us on the video stream on Facebook and now the Hillcrest Social app for free. You can see all of our video streaming for free. Download the app for iPhone and Android today. They have tons of giveaways, and they're good people there. My mom, Mama Rose, is in the chat room on ubnradio.com and on the Rocks Facebook page. She's answering all your questions. She has done her research. She has a full bottle of vodka, and if you don't keep her busy, she's going to find me another baby daddy. So keep her busy. She will relay your live questions and comments to us that we will also answer on the air. You can also call in. Chris, what's the phone number to call in? It's right there on the mouse pad. It's written there, sweetie. 323-284. 7826. Thanks for that enthusiasm, by the way. He almost fell asleep as he's telling me that.
Very soulful.
Yeah. Speaking of Chris, I'd like to introduce to you, Tony Sweet has been running our boards. Chris is the newest member of our On the Rocks family running our boards.
Yay.
What's up?
What's up?
Yeah.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, and he's so handsome. Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself.
By the way, if Tony was still there, he would have put the applause on there for himself. You need to.
Yes.
You need to do that.
Yes.
There you go. There you go.
I'm me.
You're you. Awesome. Okay. Well, that was informative. I actually love an engineer who doesn't talk that much. Yeah, he's so serious, Chris. I even poured you some vodka. Get it together. And what I meant by tell me a little bit about yourself is tell me, am I your favorite host of all time?
Of course.
That's a sound bite. That's going to go viral. Anyway, welcome back to the show. My co-host for tonight, longtime friend and leader in the nonprofit world, founder of LifeWorks Mentoring, the leading LGBT youth program at the LA LGBT Center, and currently executive director of the AIDS Monument, going into West Hollywood Park, an avid entertainment junkie and performer himself. He has seen practically every Broadway show, movie, and big name concert performer from here to New York. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
That was
great to be here. I know
That was
pretty
good.
good.
There we go.
I was like, where's the
Chris, take some notes with
I
the
didn't
3
think I
pens
did
you have
anything
over there.
until.
I want to send my thanks to Cinema Diverse, the Palm Springs Film Festival, for having me this last weekend. Chris, there's some pictures there. It was a weekend full of great films. I hosted and did the Q&A, incidentally, for the LGBT supernatural films, and it was so fun. And we were on the big screen, by the way. There's On the Rocks on the big screen. And it's good to know that independent filmmaking is alive and well. As one of the directors put it, we make these films to tell our stories simply because we need it. Hashtag we need it. And I thought that was the best quote all weekend. I do have one complaint, Cinema Diverse and Camelot Theaters, and here's the picture. At the opening night party, all of the hors d'oeuvres were healthy. They served lettuce wraps. And I know, Scott, you don't ever eat sugar or what?
No sugar, no.
Go to
Just
hell.
meat. Just meat.
Well, I mean, I can appreciate that. But then the
That
sugar?
was your segue into the
Yes. We're half friends. We're meaty friends.
meaty friends, very thick.
Well,
friends.
I'm very meaty friend, yes.
Thick as thieves.
Yeah. Some things are thicker than others, I'll tell you
Okay.
that much. I've been trying. Mail spanks. But thank God for the open bar, but lettuce wraps.
Yeah, that's fun.
All right, sweetie. All right, let us welcome our first guest today, paranormal investigator. Oh, I coined a
Gamer?
It's a new thing.
It's a new thing.
Gamer.
Gamer. Well, no. Well, Adam Berry is the gamer.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Amy Bruni is not. Paranormal investigator Amy Bruni first encountered paranormal activity as a 6-year-old when her family moved to Alameda, California. Anybody that moves to Alameda, it's bound to be some scary times there. Amy's family encouraged her to not let the paranormal world spook her, but instead to embrace it. Amy's been chasing ghosts ever since. In fact, her father started taking her on paranormal investigations when she was only 9 years old. As she got older, her fascination kept growing. In her 20s, Amy spent her weekends flying to haunted locations and conducting her own investigations. Her passion for the paranormal became her full-time job when she joined the wildly popular Syfy's Ghost Hunters in 2007. Recently, she founded Strange Escapes, which is awesome. It's a paranormal travel agency that pairs people with the largest and most haunted locations in the U.S. And she does that in her free time between hanging out with the ghosts.
That's kind of badass.
Yeah, it's so badass. Amy is badass right now. And her paranormal co-investigator is Adam Berry. He brings the sass to the show. And I love his reactions, by the way. Every reaction needs to be like a GIF or GIF. Do they say GIF?
GIF.
GIF. Yeah,
I say GIF.
Adam Berry. Adam
say
Berry.
whatever way you want.
Yes. Adam grew up in the small town of Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Muscle Shoals.
Muscle
Yes,
Shoals.
please. Sounds like heaven. And he had more he had more paranormal experiences in his childhood than most people do in a lifetime. But unlike Amy, the spirits Adam faced terrorized him. When he was just 9 years old, Adam saw a paranormal creature haunting his home, which I've never heard of. It looked like a menacing ghost dog, and he couldn't escape the harrowing sound of the dog scratching against the wall. I mean, that's just terrifying. His TV mysteriously glowed, and he had his most intense experience in 2006 at Gettysburg. He saw massive white figures in a field and heard loud gunshots and people yelling. And he rushed, and he found no explanation for what he witnessed. And this sparked his interest in the paranormal. In just a few years, he quickly progressed from unknown paranormal novice to well-respected researcher. And his newfound passion was that your grinder, Scott?
That's my grinder.
Okay. His newfound passion led him.
I'm still not getting
I know
laid.
it's not Alex's grinder. I'd be like, whoa.
It actually went
Still not
through.
getting laid with the grinder.
There we go. Adam's newfound passion led him to compete on Ghost Hunters Academy, which landed him a spot on Ghost Hunters in 2010, and that's where he met Amy. In addition, and I love this, He runs a musical theater in Massachusetts. I bet he does a great version of Sweeney Todd, by the way. And he works as a real estate agent selling haunted properties to only the bravest of thrill seekers. You guys, I want to hang out with them. They live so far. In each episode of TLC's Kindred Spirits, the two investigators meet with a family in need and try to contact the spirits in question to bring peace to the family's home. So they're not just there to say, ooh la la, here's what's happening. They try to resolve issues, bring peace, and have some fun while they're at it. And they do have a lot of fun. Welcome to the show, Amy and Adam. Whoop whoop!
Nice.
Hey.
Applause.
Chris, some applause. There we go. There we go.
There you go.
Boy.
So, I am so fascinated. I love the season premiere of season 2. You know, in no other place but like the Lizzie Borden bed and breakfast. Bed and breakfast. You know, I love that.
Where else?
Yeah. How when you guys heard that season 2 was happening, how did you guys feel about that?
Well, we were super excited. I mean, it's one of those things that's like, I mean, we were watching the ratings pretty closely, and everyone kept telling us we were going to be fine. But then it just came, you know, they wait till like the very last second to say, yes, you have a season 2. And so, you know, you want to keep going. We had so much fun with season 1, and we were just anxious to get back out there.
We got really drunk. We got really drunk. We did, because we were in Gettysburg, and we just continued to drink the night away once we found out. We were like,
we don't need a lot of excuses to do that.
Lady and gentlemen, maybe a lot of what you're seeing is, you know, alcohol-induced. I tend to see a lot of spirits when I see Judy Garland visit me.
I see white people in here gunshots too when I'm there.
So I received a lot of questions for you guys. People want to know, what is the shooting schedule like when you visit a location? How many days are you there? Do you sleep there? How many hours do you have to work? Do you get any off time? And what do you do in your off time?
Well, I mean, it really depends on the house as to whether we're going to sleep there or not. But I mean, typically it's usually about 5 days we spend at each location. And I don't know that families are always aware of just how long we're actually going to be there, you know, and they oftentimes have to go stay at a hotel for that duration. So yeah, each shoot's about 5 days. We investigate 3 or 4 nights. During the day, we go and research and try to dig up more information about the property, the family, the history. And so during a shoot, there's literally no downtime. Like every second, even when we're done at night and the cameras aren't rolling. Like we said, Adam and I, we have a ritual. Like every night afterwards, we go back to our hotel and we have a glass of wine and we discuss everything. And
I love it.
Wake the next day and continue. So
exactly. And we don't, I mean, like when we're investigating, we don't really have much downtime, I would say. But in our off time, we're real life friends, which actually helps. Like I just came from her house this morning, and it's, you know, we hung out last night investigating a old opera house in Newport, and we do that, and we go on trips, vacations. My husband and I are uncles to her daughter, basically. I mean, we're the gunkles, so it works out very nicely. And so, you know, thank God we get along because we spend a lot of time with each other for sure.
And so you guys met on Ghost Hunters. Was it love at first sight? What are some of the things that attract you about the other person?
Wait, tell him what I wrote. Tell him what I wrote.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You don't even need to prompt me. But no, when Adam won, I got a message from him that was like, so, hey, I won Ghost Hunters Academy. By the way, I think you're fierce, were his exact words.
Yeah, it is.
And no, but when we did finally like start filming together a few weeks later, our crew immediately noticed how we got along, because there's just that dynamic. I mean, it's hard to say, but like there is that dynamic where you have a male and a female on screen, but there's no like sexual tension, you know, and there's not that like female competitive thing that happens. It's just this like great kind of brother-sister thing that's happening. And then it just became that way in real life. Like we really did become like really good friends. So it's been awesome.
Now, there's so many interviews of you guys on YouTube, so I'm not going to ask you the same boring questions that you get. They're actually not boring questions. They're fascinating, but you've already been asked them, and this is on the rocks. We don't do anything kosher around here. So, hard-hitting question. I have to know, which network has better craft services, Sci-Fi, and Alex, you can speak to this, or TLC?
Well, I like our craft services because we get to decide what goes in it.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I agree, because we're in charge of the craft. Like it's just us. So like they ask us every shoot, what do you guys want? And so we can make a list where on Ghost Hunters, there were 7 of us on the show, and we were kind of like,
Yeah, I'm all for
we were
beef
lucky if we got
jerky.
Pringles.
Yeah, I'm all for beef jerky, but not every day.
Yeah.
Not really beef jerky.
You're like, let's have pate tonight. All right.
Oh, yeah. Well, we always try to sneak in a bottle of wine, especially we're in the middle of nowhere and we've been working all day. We're like, I'm going to give you $20. Can you please just go get us a bottle of good, about $15 bottle of wine, whatever it is. Just get us something so that we can have it when we're done here, please. And cheese.
So how does paranormal investigating affect your family life? Amy, I know that you're a mother. Adam, I know you were married to your husband and you have high-maintenance chihuahuas, Cheeto and Maria, by the way. Oh, there! Which one is that?
That's Maria.
Maria's the nice one.
Hey, Maria. But how does it affect your family life? And Amy, do you do investigating with your daughter?
Oh, no. She's 4, and she calls Adam and me ghost finders. Whenever he comes to the house and we leave for a trip, she's like, "Are you going to be ghost finders?" And so she doesn't really get it yet. And she has the weirdest upbringing. She goes on these trips with us, and there's all these people investigating, and but she doesn't have that idea of what ghosts are. But I think the hardest thing is just kind of traveling. That's really the hardest thing for me. Is I don't travel a ton. Most of the time I'm home, but when I leave, it's for 3 or 4 days, and most of our cases are in New England. But that's the hard thing, is kind of spreading that out so I have enough time at home in between each trip. But she's kind of always been raised that way, and she knows Mama always comes home. But that's the biggest challenge so far, until she starts asking me about the afterlife.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's hard because I live in Provincetown, Massachusetts. That's where I live. So in the summer, it's hard to leave because it's just physically almost impossible to get out of town. Not that I want to leave. But I would say I have it a little bit easier because I don't have, a child and family obligations. But, we're about to get really busy. October is our busy month. And so I don't think we leave this weekend, and we are never home for a while. But we try to balance it out with humor and, wine and fun activities, really.
We're talking about wine a lot tonight.
I feel like Kindred Spirits should be sponsored by Barefoot Wine or something.
Or a wine called Kindred Spirits. Anyone
Oh, that's such a good idea. You heard it here, folks. Here, you owe royalties to us.
I want to show them that bottle, but it's
I know, it's over there.
Yeah, it's over there.
How has contact with the paranormal affected or plays in your religious life or your faith? This is my favorite question to ask people in the world, in the paranormal world, because the answers are all over the place. And if you don't, it's kind of a personal question, but does it play a part in your faith?
Yes. I mean, here's the thing. I grew up in Alabama, beautiful town, Muscle Shoals, Alabama. If you've never been there, it's fine. And I grew up Southern Baptist, and I enjoyed my time living there, but I didn't enjoy necessarily what I was being taught in the church, especially toward when I was growing up and maturing and finding out who I was as a person and individual. But I like to tell people that no matter what religion you are, if you do this enough, it will change the way you feel about the things that you've been taught or told based on your religion. I think based on what I've seen personally, I think people would stop arguing on Facebook over random crap. I think people would stop treating each other like jerks because we see things that show that this isn't the only, life that we're going to be living, I would say. And the second we think we know the answer, we don't know the answer, right, Bruni?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a particularly religious person. I mean, my family is and everything, and I've always had this idea that there's a higher power, and but I never wanted to put a face or a name to it. And I still don't really, but just doing this, I see these, and Adam and I both, especially with Kindred Spirits, we see these entities that's what we call them, but people who are here for things that we kind of take for granted. You know, that they come back for something as trivial as like they were having an argument with someone when they passed away and they never said I'm sorry, or you know they lost a wedding ring and they want to tell someone where it is. Like these are the things that they're dwelling on when they pass away, and these are things that we kind of just pass over every day, and we're spending so much time on things that probably just don't matter ultimately. And so that, I think that has changed my perspective in a way where I try to live every day just looking and realizing what's really important. And, you know, like today, I picked up my daughter from school and I was like, oh, I have to get home and do all this stuff. But it was such a perfect day. I was like, nope, we're going to the beach. Like I dropped everything and was like, we're going to go to the beach because it's the end of September and it's 80 degrees in New England. And when does that happen? We're going to the beach, you know, and those are just little things like it just changes the way you live a little bit.
You guys, why is Amy always the one taking notes with her pad and pencil? And Adam, you're just kind of like, what's happening?
It's all here. It's all right here.
And the 2 bottles of wine. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm upset. I take notes obsessively, and they asked me about that in the beginning when we were first shooting season 1, and I always take notes. Like my house is filled with notepads because it's just how I remember things. And half the time, I don't even look at them again. Occasionally, I'll look at them if I'm trying to find like a name or something. But it's just that action helps me remember things. So I do it all the time. And it's nice to be able to do it on the show.
Yeah, and I do take notes if I'm interviewing someone because I want to make sure I remember what to tell Amy because I'll just forget.
He's jealous. And he wants
Hey, you listen now.
Sure.
You stop.
Are there any situations or environments that you will not go into?
Unsafe one. I mean, you know, there's definitely, it's been, I mean, there aren't many, but there have been places where like parts of places we're investigating where we're like, we're not going in there because we just think it's unsafe or anything like that. But as far as something being too paranormal for us, like that's never happened.
I mean, we've been contacted by people that need psychological help more so than ghost hunters to come into their house. They need like actual pills. They need dolls.
Come to West Hollywood. You'll have a field day.
Thank you. So, you know, those we also don't go. We're not going to do that. We're not going to put ourselves in harm's way, especially if we know that it can be solved from a psychiatric perspective.
Now, why do ghosts only come out at night, and do they acknowledge daylight savings time?
I wish. They actually don't just come out at night. Like, okay. We get cases all the time where people see things during the day, and so we investigate at night mainly because once it gets a little bit later, everything kind of simmers down. You know, everyone's asleep. There's less traffic outside. There's less contamination is what we call it when we're trying to investigate. Everything's just quieter. So we prefer nighttime. In the dark, it's easier to see certain light anomalies and things, and so that's why we investigate at night. Obviously, for TV, too, it looks a lot spookier. But, you know, if somebody tells us that, you know, every day they see, you know, a woman in white walk down the hallway at noon, we're probably going to investigate that spot at noon. So there are times where we're there in the daytime, but unless something happens, they don't really show it on the show.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point because daylight savings time. People always ask us about. It's a question maybe that somebody's asked, like dead time. They call it dead time, which is the hours between like 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. is like supposed to be the spookiest time. And they're like, "Do you guys believe in dead time?" And we're like, "No," because ghosts can do anything they want if they're intelligent at any time. And again, if it's daylight savings time, like. Or if you're in a different time zone, what is 3 a.m.? Is it 3 a.m. Eastern, 3 a.m. Pacific? Like, does it make any difference? We don't ascribe to that kind of stuff.
We have some comments from the chat room. Kylie says Amy is the best mom, and Josh and Donna want you both to say hi to them.
Hi, Josh. Hi, Donna.
Hey, D and Jay.
Also, will your show be on DVDs? Is a comment we got.
We keep asking because we would love to have them. Like when we do a lot of conventions and everything, we'd love to be able to sell them because people always ask for them. But so far, it's just digital. It's on iTunes and Amazon, so people can download season 1 if they want to catch up. It's there. And
I'm going to bootleg it and just sell it. I'm going to bootleg it.
Awesome. All right, we do a little game here on The Rocks called Rapid Fire 5. Who wants to go first?
Amy does.
Yes, please. I want to get it over with. I am terrible at these things. I do not operate well under
Yes.
pressure.
Right. All right, Amy, what is your strangest fan request?
Pictures of my feet all the time.
Oh, my God. That is so weird.
I was one of them.
Alex would like a picture of your feet. He'll send you a picture of something else.
There's a website called Wiki Feet. They're all over.
Oh, God.
Oh, my love. Nobody wants to see my feet. That's what's scary. Amy, what is the most embarrassing song on your playlist?
Oh, gosh. Probably, there's a lot of Taylor Swift on there, and I blame it on my daughter.
Amy. I think that's possession right there. Amy, your favorite horror film?
Oh, The Shining.
Ooh, that's a good one. Your biggest fear?
I'm hugely claustrophobic. So tunnels, elevators. I'm terrified of elevators. I hate them. So, yeah.
Yikes. And who would play you in Kindred Spirits, the movie?
People always tell me I look like Rachel McAdams, so maybe her.
Oh, yeah, I could totally see that. You'd probably be a better actress, though. She's not one of my favorites. Okay, Adam. Adam, what is your least favorite Broadway show?
The one about the passing over, My Life, the one with the dancing lemons, about the Tourette's, the kid with Tourette's. Anybody in My Life? Awful.
Oh, okay. All right. What is the worst gift your husband has ever given you?
Oh my God, he's standing right here. I got a beautiful, amazing, handcrafted pottery thing for my 30th birthday that literally said 30, but he like homemade it with like flour and water, like a.
Oh, that's cute.
Crafting. It's adorable, but I was like, it's my 30th birthday. Like at least like.
Diamonds or something. Yes. If you could have lunch with someone from the dearly departed, who would it be?
Well, I don't know why Michael Jackson comes to mind, but yes. What? Weird. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Why not?
What is your ritual when you come home from an investigation? What's the first thing that you do?
Wine.
My dogs attack my face.
Okay. All right.
My chihuahuas literally attack my face, and then I have a martini.
Perfect. What is your most asked question?
Where's the scariest place we've ever been? That's probably the most asked question we've always.
All right, so we're going to play a really quick game, and you guys have to shout out who's responsible. So the answer is either going to be Amy or Adam, and you just shout it out, okay?
Okay.
It's going to be like questions like, okay, so worst driver, 3, 2, 1.
Amy.
That's funny. Okay, biggest diva on set, 3, 2, 1. Oh, you guys are so funny. Most likely to run out of a building without the other.
Neither.
No,
we wouldn't.
Oh, you guys.
Sorry, we really wouldn't. Cameraman.
The cameraman. He's like, I'm not getting paid enough for this. The best cook.
Me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Best dancer.
Adam.
I believe that. Oh God, that was a sample. Is that a dance or a seizure? I don't even know.
I don't know. It's a shimmy.
Does anybody from our panel have any last questions for Amy or Adam?
No.
I was so excited to have seen the premiere of Kindred Spirits. It's Friday nights. It's on TLC. Thank you guys so much. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to watch some sneak peeks from this season, season 2. Real fast, where can our listeners find and follow you?
At Amy Bruni on Twitter, Instagram, and then Amy Bruni on Facebook.
I am Adam Berry on Facebook, Adam J. Berry on Twitter, and Adam Berry on Instagram.
Awesome. I can't wait to see so much more of you guys. Special shout out to Charlotte Fletcher at TLC. She's such a great person, and she set this up, and I love her. All right, let's take a few peeks. You guys are free to go and get drunk.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. Bye. All right, you guys, some moments from TLC's Kindred Spirits.
Oh, my God.
11 years ago, she started having crazy experiences.
I would swear I saw somebody out there standing against one of the trees.
I saw something move in the woods. Accident.
There was a huge spinning blade, and she walked into that blade.
Did the just move?
Count with me. 1, 2, 3.
Does not occur.
I want to watch that now.
And we're back. You guys, and they sent me screeners for the first couple of episodes, and it's just great. And you see their chemistry is so great.
Yeah, they're pretty great.
Yeah, I love
They're
them.
so much fun.
Real fast, want to hang out with the show On the Rocks is coming out and about to you Friday, October 6th at 7:30 p.m. I will be moderating the Q&A for the Marina Del Rey Film Festival for the premiere of Valentina, which is the latest film by Jorge Cholopa. He's going to be the Latino Steven Spielberg. I swear to God, his films are so great, and I'm going to be there. Questions and answers and all that kind of stuff, so come see me there. Halloweeny 12 is here, Friday, October 27th. I'll be at the Belasco in Los Angeles. Beautiful, beautiful venue that we will massacre. It is the event in LA to go to. Costumes like you cannot believe. I'm going to be setting up a little booth, and I'm going to be doing live streams with the celebrities. So everybody has to come see me there, or come watch the live streams on Facebook. Palm Springs Pride is here. Well, it's not here yet. It'll be here in November. I'm going to be on the main stage as their official MC for 8 hours every day on Saturday and Sunday. First weekend of November. Make your travel plans and hotel plans to come out early. Come hang out with me. Like us on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks, on air, on the web, ontherocksradioshow.com. Send me an email. Book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceanera, bris. I don't care. I will be there. Info at ontherocksradioshow.com. All right. Let me formally introduce our guest. I'm so excited, you guys. Towering at 6'5", Aleks Paunovic has literally done everything and everybody. Oh. That last part I wrote in, hopefully.
It's nice young, my friend.
Yes. There's more vodka.
Hello.
Yes. Oh, God, and we got interesting questions from you, from fans that we're going to answer. It's no surprise that the Syfy Van Helsing star is breaking hearts across screens, big and small. Canadian-born, Alex knew from an early age that he was destined to tell stories. A skilled athlete with a championship amateur boxing title under his belt. His thirst for living on the edge led him to a career as a stunt actor. You're so big, though. I can't even imagine. You probably knocked everything out.
That car crashes weren't my thing.
Yeah, it's like, we have a Mini Cooper. No, sorry.
Not gonna happen.
In addition to his strength and athletic accolades, Alex is a musician at heart and was part of a rock band in his youth. And I know you have some band stories. Yeah. In fact, it was during a performance when he was asked to audition for the HBO film Heads, and as fate would have it, he landed the role, starring Roddy McDowall. By the way, did he try to hit on you?
I played his butler.
Yeah, I know. Did he try to buttle you?
Yeah, we'll talk about
I just
that.
heard I played his butt. That's all I heard.
No.
I played his butt.
No, Roddy McDowall he was such a sweetheart, and I mean, he knew he was Elizabeth Taylor's best friend. Yeah. So that, I mean, as your first role, we're gonna talk about that. And from that role, he set forth to take Hollywood by storm. Fans know Alex from such roles as Sergeant Omer Fisher in Battlestar Galactica, as well as his role as a developmentally, I can't even say that. That's how challenged I am. Accused of murder and personal effects. Opposite, you guys, Kathy Bates, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Ashton Kutcher. Alex's other credits to date include the film This Means War. Opposite Tom Hardy. You guys watch it. The karate scene. Blackaway with an intense scene with Anthony Hopkins that we have a picture of, as well as the highly anticipated War for Planet of the Apes, which we have some great pictures with Woody Harrelson. And additionally, has starred in numerous television series such as Supernatural, Continuum, iZombie, cult classic, The 100, Once Upon a Time, and Smallville. I do love your performance in Supernatural, though. That was very special for me.
The spandex? Are you talking about the spandex?
I'm talking about your co-stars and you in the same screen. Including, don't forget, his lesser-known role as Soldier Number 4 in Roswell, The Aliens Attack. I added that one in there. Do you like that? What I love about Alex is that he has defied being stereotyped as the gruff, mean villain by bringing complex layers to his characters and an emotional spirit that literally jumps off the screen. He is entrancing when you watch any of his projects. He's also an active supporter of the Red Cross Impact Anti-Bullying Campaign. Welcome to the show, Aleks Paunovic.
Wow. Thank you, guys.
Wow.
That is an intro.
Yes.
That is an intro.
Also joining the show, Scott Cruz is a clairvoyant medium and a spiritual counselor. He possesses the ability to empower people, connect with the past, see the present, and foresee an individual's life trajectory for the future, as well as connect with those who have crossed over. I am so fascinated with this gentleman. He is a teacher of the power of consciousness and creating reality, which can help guide individuals into vibrational alignment. I didn't write this, obviously.
I wrote it.
Yeah.
You're doing okay. Do you want me to just read it? Or I can read you.
You didn't know it was called vibrational alignment, did you?
Yeah. the way I'm standing. No, especially being in West Hollywood.
He's sitting in alignment with it. You know?
Being in like West Hollywood, when you read people, you're like, no, I can read you. Girl, I've already been read.
Right.
His renowned ability has led him to be a guest star on such shows as The Real Housewives of Orange County, where his prediction caused a huge stir with the housewives, and the truth was brought to light, and his intuition was proved correct. That was huge. I remember that so intensely. In fact, a lot of people were affected by that. Cruz is also a talented composer and performer who has captured an impressive 5 prestigious Telly Award wins for his musical scoring. His latest single, Rescue, with Grammy Award-winning record company Domo Music Group, is representative of Scott's musical prowess. He's been recognized for his musical works, which have been featured on major television networks, including Discovery Channel, History Channel, and the 3-net Sony IMAX channel, and my YouTube on repeat over and over and over and over. Now available on iTunes as well. This prolific singer-songwriter, producer, and composer's formative years included a healthy dose of formal music education and exposure to various genres of music, which you can hear in all of his songs, including gospel, pop, electric, and rock. Scott began writing and producing his own songs at the age of 16. Music is his passion. He connects with his listeners and fans through his creative gift of musicality. He touches fans and admirers on several levels through his powerful gift and powerful music. I hope he touches all of us here tonight. Welcome, everybody!
Wow. Man, talk about a salesman, right? I'm like wet just from hearing that. I mean, seriously. He touched me. He touched me.
We have a gentleman present. Please, please.
That's the point.
Yeah. Alex, I am so astounded by your international reach. You know, I know you lived in Canada for a long time, and you've done so many different projects, some great projects, some not so great projects.
Absolutely.
And I've seen them all. But your following, when we opened it up, say, hey, come send your questions. And we got questions from all over the nation, not just the country, all over the nation.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to ask some, just to start it off, just to please our lady friends.
Be gentle.
This is from Monica Ferrera.
Right.
What is your biggest fear?
What's my biggest fear? My biggest fear would have to be I'm not a big fan. Like, I can handle a lot of stuff as a big dude, but I'm not a big fan of spiders.
Interesting.
I have no idea why. I don't know where that came from, but spiders is not my friend.
I find that so interesting. Like, if we were roommates, I'm available for that, by the way. And there was a spider, I would definitely call to think of you to, hey, there's a spider in the house.
You know what? I faked it a lot, and I was like, I think we should just let it alone. We just leave it alone, let it go, do its thing. But I'm not a big fan of.
I think a lot of big guys don't like spiders.
Yeah.
I don't like spiders.
That's
I
weird.
have to get somebody else to get rid of a spider.
I don't mind. I'll get
Are you
rid of
6'5",
them.
Michael?
I'll get rid of them, but I'm not a fan of getting rid of them.
See, I keep one. I keep one in the house at all times because, you know, they kill the other insects, like
see,
flies.
I think
you
that
keep
makes
a
so much
spider?
sense.
Just one. Just
that
one.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
It's like my buddy. It's my buddy, yeah.
You need
But
friends.
there's no other insects. I do, besides the ghosts. Ghosts and spiders.
Ghosts and spiders.
That's what it is, right?
You're so perfect for a Halloween. Not bringing you back for Christmas. Alex, again from Monica, what is the strangest, and I got this question so many times, what is the strangest or naughtiest thing a fan has sent you through the mail? Not transmitted to you, sent you.
Transmitted.
Yes.
I can't believe it. I was sent a used vibrator.
Oh. Wow. Was that from Roddy McDowell?
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I was sent. I was sent that.
Wow.
And no address, no note or anything, just a...
Was it from Sunset Gower Studios? I know. We're all
Such a selfless gift.
Yeah, right? And it was, wasn't happy about it. My agency was just like, what is this? Get rid of it! Yeah, not a fan.
But it's hard not to present yourself as a sexual figure with you're so tall and like, and then of course your boxing background. Now all the men in your family were boxers.
Yeah, all my my dad, my uncle, my grandfather, everyone came from a boxing background. So I basically grew up like boxing, and it's really interesting because in the amateur. Growing up boxing amateur in Canada, and usually anybody that's in the super heavyweight division are people that are ex-football or hockey players, so you don't really come up learning boxing. And usually the lighter weights, I never had to make weight. Super heavyweight division was not about making weight. So I was lucky that I just knew the skill. So it was a little bit easier for me being heavier, but I just kind of like had the boxing family and already had the kind of skill of growing up with it with my family.
Does big hands help with boxing? Because I noticed, like, I have big hands.
Yeah.
I shook your hand. My hand disappeared in your hand. I mean, is that like? I mean, people
He's
comment
like a
on my
gentle
hand.
giant.
Yeah. I mean, does that help? Does it matter?
Well, it does because you're covering more surface on the face when you're hitting
bigger
it.
knuckles.
Yeah, but you just got to know how to hold your hand. Some people don't kind of squeeze their hand properly, and some people like hold their hands really tight, and then you get tired really tight, really quickly. So it all depends. But it helps definitely.
Now, weight has played a part in your career. You had to gain 65 pounds for a role, and it wasn't like healthy weight; it was unhealthy weight.
No, and it wasn't like I had to gain it. It was one of those things where I got the role, and it was something that I was really proud of. Even getting the role, I celebrated with all my friends. And then the next day I went with my buddies and we went boxing. We worked out, and then I was started to work on the character because it was a mentally challenged guy, and I realized I felt too strong. So I decided that we weren't shooting for a few months. So I decided that I wasn't gonna work out, didn't do a push-up, and just ate, and like at 3 o'clock in the morning I would take down one of those muscle mass shakes, which is like 1,500 calories, and just kind of I just needed to feel not athletic. And it was really interesting because as I was doing it, I made the choice to do it. Every one of my friends, people that haven't seen me in a while, going, "Oh my God, what happened to Alex? Is he okay?" But on set, I felt perfect. Like I felt like this was the character. But when we wrapped and I left set, I felt bad. I felt gross. My joints hurt. I couldn't sleep properly. Would I do it again? Probably not. But I definitely feel like it helped with the character. Absolutely.
Well, that must have played with your psyche, being such a nutritional and healthy person.
It definitely did. It screwed with my mind. But the idea that those moments that I needed in the film, I don't know if I would have been able to hit it if I was 100% healthy.
Now, what does your family of boxers think about you being an actor? When you go home, is it like Zoolander when he went home to like his minor family?
No, not really. But my dad's a trip because he never compliments me, but he'll talk about me to his friends. But
why do dads do that?
I don't know. But every time, like I would go like, "Oh, Pop, I got this movie with Anthony Hopkins," and every movie he would always go, because he's Eastern European from Serbia, and he was like, "You play cowboy?" "No, I'm not playing a cowboy." So the whole time, it was until I actually did play a cowboy, and I was like, "Okay, now he can't blow me off." So, "Pop, I'm doing this movie. You play cowboy?" "Yeah, I'm actually playing a cowboy." "You play good cowboy?" No, he's not a good. It never could get it right with that guy.
Now, we have a picture here of you and Anthony Hopkins. It was such an intense scene in Blackaway. I want to know what you learned from doing a scene with him, what your nerves were like, number one, but what did you take away from that experience?
Man, I have so many stories about that experience, and I've told it to a lot of my friends. So I could not wait to get to set and work with Anthony Hopkins. And I was a little nervous, but I kind of played it. He got to set, and I was like, I'm not going to be that guy, and I played it too cool. So he came in. He goes, "Hey, I'm Tony." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Alex." And I was like, "Oh man!" And then we just started talking, and then he asked what sport I played, and I said I boxed, and he goes, "Oh, I used to box." And then all of a sudden, everyone didn't matter, and we were talking to each other in this intense conversation. The only thing I can think of is, please, no one tell us to go to set and work right now because I'm having this amazing conversation. And then we got to the point where after we finished shooting, and he was like a little kid. That was the coolest thing. He was super excited to work and to jam and to be an improv. And to me, it was one of those things was like, I'm not doing anything different than I did in acting class with one of the greatest actors in the world. And that to me was a telling tale of this guy. There's no ego involved, and he just wants to work. And then after we shot, he was like, "Hey, give me your number." So Then we started texting each other.
Crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. And then,
That's
so he
so
would
cool.
text me, I would text him back, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm texting with Anthony Hopkins. And then he would get tired of texting and just send videos of himself talking to me.
Oh my God.
It's honestly,
we have one right here. Let's take a look. No, just kidding.
That'd have been
but
great.
it was literally, it was the coolest exchange back and forth. And he's in London, and he just wakes up, and he's telling me the story about boxing. He's got the video on him. He's doing Marlon Brando impressions. It was phenomenal weeks of just like connecting with him. He was awesome.
You had a bromance with Anthony Hopkins.
I definitely did.
Did you learn different things about his process of building a character?
Well, see,
your process?
that was really interesting. I asked him, because obviously you kind of want to know a little secret, like maybe you can get to that next level. And I said to him, I'm like, what is it? Because we look up at you, and we're like what is he doing? Anything different? And then he just super chill just said, well, that's the problem. Once you start looking up at something, you'll never achieve it. And he said, you'll hit your head at the bottom of a pedestal that I never put there. And we're just peers, and we're just working. Do the thing that you really believe will get you to the next level, and just keep working. And that blew my mind, because here I'm looking for a secret, and he's like, once you put somebody above you, you'll never reach it. Right. So it was very cool. It was very cool.
That is very cool.
Now, I know music has played a big part, and Scott, we're going to talk about your music. Michelle Holguin wants to know, you create playlists for the roles that you do, and music you were part of a rock band, and YouTube has one of you with a guitar, doing it's like a mix between like Bruce Springsteen and like I don't even know how to describe your voice. It's sexy, ladies and gentlemen. But Michelle wants to know, if you created a playlist for yourself for your life right now, what would be the first 3 songs that you would include?
First 3 songs that I would include. There'll be definitely a couple of Foo Fighter songs in there. I'm a huge fan of Foo Fighter just because of what Dave Grohl's journey was, and I think it's like he had to just start all over again. I just finished watching for the 10th time the documentary back and forth, and I think some Queen for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Queen.
Yeah.
I don't know how that movie's going to be, by the way.
I know.
Yikes. And Scott, music. Music has always been with you.
Oh, yeah.
You've had this, and we're not supposed to call it a gift. In fact, read in the interview in Bear World Magazine, we're not supposed to call you being a psychic and a medium.
Right.
You don't even like the word psychic.
I think, psychic has a kind of a cheap connotation to it. You think like fortune teller, street psychic, So I think with what I do, it's more clairvoyant, it's more intuitive, it's more of a higher knowledge for me. So that's why I kind of steer away from the word psychic a little bit.
Now, do you think being in tune with your surroundings it kind of puts you more in tune to being musical?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, once you kind of realize it's an aspect of you, it's an awareness of you that we all have this awareness of, higher intellect. Definitely with an expression of art, it elevates it. Because, every artist, as you probably know when you're doing your music, you somewhat channel this inspiration, this kind of creative juice. It's like a soup. So, when you're definitely aware of higher energies, you tap into that knowledge, And to me, all the great inventors of our time, Steve Jobs, they've all tapped into that higher knowledge, that infinite knowledge that we all have access to. So even those who've passed on, like Michael Jackson, like the guy said before, we can tap into his spirit and actually channel that inspiration through our music too. So, of course, I'm very narcissistic. I don't want to channel anybody else's perspective but my own. So I do tend to, use my spiritual awareness to kind of elevate with my music.
Now, when you experience people that have crossed over and come to visit, do you ever hear music in some of these visitations? Or what's the correct term to use? Because I'm like the lamest.
No, it's okay.
I love the supernatural on the other side, but I use the lamest we're not supposed to use visitation, right?
There's definitely different ways that they interpret, So sometimes they're very quirky. So it is data. So the brain is going to process the data in different ways, whether it be through a sound, through a smell, through a taste, whatever it is. So a lot of times I'll just get a knowing. I'll become them. Which is weird. So imagine me like some 80-year-old woman, grandmother. Oh, don't fret, young child, So
is that an actual visitation?
That's an actual channel. No, but I'm being overly dramatic on that. But sometimes you develop their personality traits and you get some sensations of how they pass, and and for me lately, the more I've been practicing my work, it's become more of a knowing. Like I've known this person, so, and I do get the visualizations. But like when I started doing this work, it was kind of challenging to develop the interpretational skills. Like, how do I interpret this freaking?
Because there's no handbook, and it's different for every clairvoyant.
Yeah, and because a lot of the times as mediums and readers, we have a lot of that. Pressure, like, oh, prove it to us. What you say we can't see, prove it. So, I was a skeptic even with my own ability. I'm like, well, maybe I'm just a mind reader. And like, but how the hell would I be able to read minds? What does that come from? So it really took a lot of work, to do that. And so right now it took a lot of work to get me to do it in a simplistic way. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Do you have people in your family? Is clairvoyance something that's known in families?
I always say my mom and my dad, especially now that I'm, kind of pushed it more, they're becoming more aware, of these things. We've had a poltergeist growing up in our house.
Wasn't that scary?
I mean, we got used to it. I mean, my dad's Puerto Rican, my mom's Italian. It's just kind of
Lord.
Hey,
oh my God!
Like something moves, you kind of deal with it. You know what I mean?
But what happens? What happens when you have a poltergeist?
Well,
like, what was
sure? Like, do we? Well,
it's like a spider, Alex.
Oh no, not a spider!
Yeah. We had like a lot of interesting experiences. Like, we had doors that were like a basement door, particularly. I don't mean to sound cliche, like a basement.
But that's
door.
what happens.
But we had a basement that would shake like profusely, like. You can't. My dad's a contractor, so when it comes to like debunking stuff, my dad is the person, and we couldn't debunk how this door would obviously shake. We had blinds that would go up and down. Wow. We would hear people upstairs like just walking around casually and breaking stuff. So there's a lot of things we couldn't explain. And my one instance where my brother woke up screaming in the middle of the night, and he had a shelf of remote control cars. And one car started going back and forth by itself. And so we walk in, he's screaming, like, okay.
That's like Hollywood stuff.
I'm not kidding you. I'm serious. And so my dad's trying to find, a pleasable answer. And he's like, oh, maybe the satellites in the sky is connecting with the antenna and is causing it to malfunction. But there's no batteries in it. So there's no batteries in the car. And I'm like, well, how does that work?
It's freaking me out, man.
So I mean, it's things that after a while you keep having this, and then you say poltergeist. I kind of want to people are listening. A poltergeist is energy that is from someone who has abilities and is aware of this, but has been suppressed or had something traumatic happen.
One of the best things. I love your website, by the way. What's the website? It's Scott Cruz.
ScottCruz.com and ScottCruzPM.com. Yeah.
Because you write and you explain your thoughts, and you speak, which I've never heard before, is you don't believe in anything demonic, like no possession,
right?
No like haunted dolls or something evil.
Well, the experience of it is real, and that's the thing that I think a lot of people get confused about. Because I did go through possessions, and I was a Christian for 13 years, and so they thought I was demonic because I loved men, and so because I was able to predict the future and so forth. So they thought I was demonic. So I did go through the experience of being exorcised and having possession. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this. So I did realize that it was actually my own demons that I've created, because everything that is in this reality we've created through our own projections. So it was a real demon, but it was created by me. It was an extension of my own energy. So once I realized this and shifted my consciousness, that's when everything changed. I realized I'm not getting scratches anymore, and I'm not getting these quote-unquote hauntings, and I'm not being pursued by these entities as I thought I was. It was my own paranoia, and so forth. So when I realized this, it all went away. And so I do work with individuals who've gone through these experiences. I feel like they have someone, a spirit in their home, or, they're being, either attacked or some sort of way. And I simply explain to them that we live in a world based off simple physics. So if you're pushing out a resistance or some sort of a force into the universe and it's negative, it's going to slap back at you. So if you're aware of non-physical energy and the non-physical, intelligence, and you're resisting that, it's going to slap back at you. And, in the case it may come as a scratch or some sort of a manifestation physically, it just will be random, but that's what happens.
It's like a spiritual hypochondria then.
Kinda, I guess. I mean,
where you're manifesting your own.
You're manifesting your own
side effects.
You're creating your own reality. Period. So what we're seeing, we're all individually have our own perspectives, so we're all in our own reality. But we're right now kind of conjoining our perspectives to have a shared experience. But again, what we're seeing is basically perceived by us and only by us. And some people may agree to this, but we are creating that. And this has been proven within quantum physics. I always say to people to start by looking at the double slit experiment, because that shows that all possibilities exist now, but what is perceived is the given result. This is what's tangible to us. So in the spectrum of reality, everything exists now. So it's based on what we're choosing to observe becomes our given reality. So There's a lot of layers of dimensions on top
I
of
thought
this.
we were going to be friends. I have no clue what you just said to me.
It's
Alex,
okay.
And Alex, so many roles that you've dealt with have dealt with like a different reality in terms of the supernatural, in terms of parallel universe type thoughts, Battlestar Galactica. Nice. Has the paranormal, has the supernatural been a part of your life? And also, a question we got is, were you a fan of sci-fi before getting into this genre?
Well, it's interesting. Like I wasn't a fan of sci-fi growing up. I was a fan of my brother, who was a fan of sci-fi growing up, and I was always tripped out at what he was getting from it. And he was a big Dungeon and Dragons guy, so he was very much in different kind of worlds, and I appreciated that of him. And as I started acting and started getting more and more into sci-fi and getting hired for sci-fi shows, I started to really enjoy the fact that I'm using these real scenarios in a fantasy world, and to build on that. So, people would create these different worlds, and then we're kind of basically hired to tell these stories within a different world, and I really enjoyed that. Like, I love the idea of dramas, and like Mystic River's one of my favorite films, but the idea of doing that type of a story in a different world or in a different galaxy was really interesting to me. That people are being very creative in building these worlds, and that's something that really kind of attracted me to those type of the sci-fi genre, for sure.
Acting in that genre takes a very special skill,
right? Because
it can be done very well,
right?
Like the new Star Trek was so grounded in reality and emotional connection, which was the original Star Trek was all about. But it can also be done very badly, like Sharknado.
Right.
When you
so bad that it became good.
Yeah. Hey, I actually watched it. We had Tara Reid in.
Enough said.
Enough said.
Got it.
And I had this question, but also Michelle Hogan emailed this question as well. Are there any roles that you look back and you regret having taken, and what makes you say yes to a role? Because you say yes to big studios, smaller studios, independent projects.
I don't regret anything that I've done. One of the best things that I think
I love that answer when an actor says that.
Yeah, I honestly do. Not just because I'm working. I learn from each role that I do. Like, I learn as in, like, you know what, maybe that wasn't the greatest choice of doing that role, but I got to explore different avenues and tap into different things and work with. And the other thing is, it's not just what you guys see on the screen. I got to work with different types of people. Like, it could have been a terrible situation where I wasn't getting along with the director, but those are learning moments for me of how I can handle that better on the next gig. So for me, I don't regret anything that I do. I'm just thrilled that I get to do this in whatever capacity and how I can try to get better in each one. And I've delved into producing also and executive producing, and those are things that I want to keep on doing. The only way I can keep on doing it is if I just really work with different types of people and try to get the best out of them. Like, I did this film called Numb, and we had some problems because it was an independent film. We had some problems where, usually there's new people that are coming on to do new jobs because it's an independent film, jobs that they haven't done before, almost like a step up.
Right.
And if they were doing a professional gig that wasn't an indie, they would be a lot lower down. So this is how they learn. So and I almost treat it like an ER. It's like a learning hospital. So for me,
it takes patience.
It takes patience, and they have to take a step up, and stuff is going to happen, and mistakes are going to happen. We had somebody forgot a generator, and we're like, oh man, and people weren't really pleased with him. But I made sure that I personally didn't want him to feel bad about it. Here's $20, get us a couple coffees, go get it, and come back. By that time, we were ready to shoot, and we kind of weren't ready if the generator was already there. So you don't need to come down on somebody, and maybe that person wouldn't have wanted to continue in the job if he was being treated poorly because he forgot something. And because I empowered him, he just, we had a great discussion after the thing and after the film, and that was one of the reasons why he wanted to keep on doing it. And I know I've had those experiences. I worked with Sam Neill on a film where I was the boxing coordinator.
We have a picture from that, yeah.
And he was, I screwed up something, and he was nothing but generous and giving, and it just made me want to keep on doing that that job to the point where I could give back to somebody else and make them empowered. So I'm just really lucky. I did a film called Puppet Killer. It's a horror film coming out, and there, a lot of that happened too. There was a lot of people that didn't have the jobs that they had before, and even the actors that were in it. We were just trying to put it all together, and the idea of making something independently and everyone coming together. Individually, they're going to go off and do some great things, and so I just love giving back in that aspect.
You know, and last week we had when we were talking to Melissa Peterman, she talked about how the difference between working.
I love name dropping on my own show.
Yes. that you know, when she works on a project where everybody's treating each other better, the work's better.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's just counterintuitive to treat people badly, because then their spirit, the very thing that brings out the best work and the creativity, is
well, that's
squashed.
that's the biggest thing, is that like somebody that gets squashed and has one job, he's literally just gonna go, I'm going to take this from point A to point B. You give them some freedom, you give them some confidence. They're going to give you.
They'll do more, yeah.
They'll do more. They'll give more creative suggestions, and I love that. I love being able to jam with a group of people and creating something.
Well, I love that you said that, because Hollywood is all about now, here, now, step on people.
Me.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But I think when you watch an independent film, and I've seen so much of your work. It's that passion and emotion you see a lot in smaller independent films that sometimes get lost in the bigger films. I saw.
No, I was just going to say, a lot of that happens, and so you're in an independent film, and then there's things that can happen to where now you're being asked to do something. Like, I've been offered films because of the work that I did in independent films
by Vivid Entertainment,
yeah, and it's all and it's come back, and like I worked with Caroline Ray on a film, and then from that we I don't know Del Shores. Do you know Del Shores?
He used to have a show here. I know Del Shores and Emerson Collins very well.
Yeah. So I did their last film, Sordid Lives, with Whoopi Goldberg and Caroline Ray, and so for me to be a part of that, all kind of grew from an independent background. So
that's a great experience, right? Because those people have worked together before. And
right.
You know, there's great characters to tell stories of. And
yeah, they were fantastic to work with, for sure.
Jonathan Walker says Alex is the coolest man alive. Colleen, Shell, and Lori say hi to Alex.
Okay, Jonathan Walker is one of the producers of Van Helsing. So,
then this is a good moment to take a look. Let's take a look at what's in store for season 2.
And he wrote some of the most fantastic episodes of this coming up season. So he's going to like.
Is there room for a husky Latino in Van Helsing?
Yes, absolutely.
I just want to be killed. I want to be there and just be killed.
I'll take a bite out of you.
Oh my.
Practice, come on.
You heard it here first.
The show's now over.
Yeah. Take a bite out of me. You're getting bigger fangs. I'll be like, is that a mosquito bite? Let's take a look at season 2 and what's up for Julius. P.S. The name itself, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, God, that looks good. Yeah.
We have one chance.
There's stronger, more powerful vampires out there, and they're gunning for you.
Good, let him.
She's a vampire. You have to kill her.
She's my daughter.
We need to move now.
The sun, it isn't burning you. I swear I'll kill you all. Who the hell are you?
It's a rampage.
Take the fight to them before they take it to you.
Not much of a planner, huh?
She's a Van Helsing. That's her plan. I'm telling you, man, this season was so much fun to shoot. Everyone just stepped up and killed it. It was a blast.
Well, in season 2, you kind of have your feet grounded, and you're like, okay, we're doing this now. I saw some of the interviews at Comic-Con where you talk about the character being a villain with the other villain, and it's just so exciting. And I love the take. It's a modern take on Van Helsing, what we've known about the legend, totally expanded, which is so inventive. In the world of reboots, everything is rehashed and redone.
Right.
Van Helsing is like, great. We'll take that, and then let's bring it.
Yeah, it honestly, I was blessed to be a part of it because Neil LaBute, who's one of the best playwrights, and
Yes.
Neil LaBute's like one of the best, and Simon Barry, who created Continuum, and Jonathan Walker, who was just a beautiful writer unto himself, and so for us to be a part of that, and the whole cast and crew and the ensemble. And we shoot it in Vancouver, and Vancouver has, like I've been around, and Vancouver has some of the best actors there, and for us to be a part of that show in that part of the province, it's just fun. I'm lucky. I'm just really lucky to be a part of the show.
When you get a script and you've booked the role, what is the first thing that you do? And it's like, here's your script. Shooting day is next Thursday. What do you highlight your lines? What do you do first?
I definitely highlight the lines, but I definitely need. I just got to break down the character. Like, what are my wants? And I just do the work on, no matter what the situation is with the other scripts, I'll know how that character will react. So I got to really break them down. Into a human being, a three-dimensional human being, and I've had some great instructors. I worked with Larry Moss, who is a fantastic acting coach who really taught me a lot. This guy Andrew McElroy, who really kind of helped me develop characters and put more on the line for the character. And Railtown in Vancouver has been phenomenal. But people that along the way that's given me these little tidbits of how to kind of really dive into a character and explore it in a way that I would hope that is original, and then everything after that, once I do the work, everything after that is pretty much, it'll just starts falling into place.
You're such a Renaissance man. Like when Dos Equis recast, that's so you.
Yeah.
Casey, get on that.
Yeah, Casey.
Yeah.
And there you go. I've got the booze in my hand and everything.
Like right there.
On point.
On point. Natalia Webster wants to know, what red wine do you prefer? Shiraz, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Malbec.
Cab Sav.
Oh, sweet. We're that close with it. We can just.
I abbreviate it.
That's our relationship with red wine. I mean, we can just do that.
Listen, you know what's so great is that I've got these phenomenal fans, and they're called the Cuddle Puddles, and they have been nothing but super generous following my career. So I just want to give a shout out to them. They've been phenomenal.
I'm so like
Cuddle Puddles?
taken.
I'm sorry.
Cuddle Puddle, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Somebody
better than freaking monsters, right?
But somebody sent a message on Twitter or something, and I just kind of responded like, "Wow, we should all get together for a Cuddle Puddle," and then that just kind of took off. And
that's my name on Grindr. That's so weird. What a coincidence.
But Cuddle Puddle, though, I don't know. On Grindr, the puddle part might be a little risque.
I'm sorry, your friends are spiders and ghosts. All right. Laurie from the chat room, she's the one that does the black and white paintings.
Phenomenal stuff. Like, I can't even believe the stuff that she does. Not just on me. She's painted some amazing portraits of other people. And
Laurie, hello.
Very talented, Laurie. You got to get Alexander on
with
this.
my jazz hands. She's like, she puts the pencils away. She's like, we're done for today. Natalie also wants to know, what is your shoe size?
Size 15.
Oh,
wow! Really?
Wow. Yeah, size 15.
Chris, can we turn up the air conditioning, please?
I literally had to go for shop. I don't even shop for, like, when I see a shoe, I go, oh, do you have 15? I literally go into the store and just go, what 15s do you have?
Because they don't have, you have to specially order them. I know this for a fact. Dealing with some stylist, you're in a different range. You can't wear some of the fun stuff.
No.
Well, neither can I. What am I complaining about? Hello. Scott, I received this email. In fact, a few different versions of it. How does your gift, and I know we're not supposed to say gift, how does your ability affect your friendships and your dating life? Do you know when your friends are lying to you? Is it hard to date somebody when you're seeing all this stuff going on around them?
Wow, it's a pretty big, multi-dynamical question there. Has the ability affected my dating life? No, I mean, if anything, might have limited it because I can kind of spot it out right away. But as far as like people, knowing, a lot of people are quite interested in it, I guess, because I don't come off as like, very kind of in the clouds, but so a lot of people are kind of fascinated. So it's kind of fun. And I met a lot of people who actually, especially this time frame, a lot of people are very spiritually advanced, like, I think. And
really?
I met a lot of people. I was surprised that, I believe in it, or I've had experiences too. I'm like, wow, I've actually attracted a lot of people. Like, so it's been kind of cool. And yes, when someone lies, can we curse on the show or no?
It's not that kind of show, but we can.
Okay, well, I'll just say I have a really good BS meter. I have a really good. It's built
You're
in.
afraid to say bullshit?
Wow.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Such a gentleman, you guys.
You know, I don't
There you
know.
go.
But yeah, I have a big bullshit meter, and maybe it's because I'm from New
was
York.
so
You do have like a Puerto Rican in your family because I would just go over and slap you.
Bullshit meter. I don't know.
My mom is rolling her eyes while she's doing a shot right now.
My dad's like,
"Hey."
say it. It's bullshit. You say it. Yeah. So I just think that's also, I always tell people, if you're always just intuitive, you're a half-wit. If you're just psychological, you're half-wit. But if you blend the two, you're a full person. So yeah, between the spirituality, intuition, and the psychological, knowledge, I think both make you kind of more aware. Yeah.
Songwriting. You literally do everything: playing the instruments, the arranging,
Yes.
the singing. Who were some of your early influences you can remember as young, not like recent, but like young? We remember playing them. Over
I just
and
remember
over.
like Bon Jovi. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
like, living on a prayer. It was
That's who it is. It's like Bruce Springsteen versus Bon
Yeah.
Jovi, and your voice too. Do you mind if we take a little sneak peek at your latest single,
I
Rescue?
would love it. Sure.
All right,
I want
let's take a little. Oh my God, duet, you guys! Oh my God, so many men's and
Keep
women.
pushing that. I would love it.
Alexander's head just exploded on the radio.
Yeah. Let's hear a little bit of Rescue.
There inside of you, your love inside, was bound, restricted. Now let me open up your heart, let the fair be left.
It has some Queen aspect to it.
The world is diverging into. Now you gotta let love be your rescue. Love is a rescue. We'll take you above. Let love be your rescue. Let love be your rescue.
All the voices, you guys. All the instruments. Everything is Scott.
That's ridiculous.
That's a little teaser.
That's
sick.
So, what does Rescue mean to you? Because you write a lot about love. Your cover, by the way, go to YouTube, look up Scott Cruz Wrecking Ball. Your cover of Wrecking Ball is great in your
thanks.
living room, by the way.
It was, yeah.
And now I got to see where you live. I'll see you tonight.
Yeah, kind of. Thank you. Rescue is kind of I've always been a dark writer, and so I used to have older stuff on iTunes. I took it down, but I was very much a very morbid writer. I realized, and so.
Do you think that has to do with your knowing about the other side?
And I've been through a lot of challenges, which been able to kind of enlighten me to help people with certain issues. So, like if someone says I had anxiety, or I was suicidal, or I was whatever, I can say, well, I've been through that too. So, so I was tending to write a lot about that. So recently I've kind of been more on the lighter side. And so Rescue is more about, to me, about love, kind of obviously rescuing you from like this old world of fear into the new world of love and peace. And so it's kind of my love song to the world.
But it's funny because you're single and like you don't have a lot of that.
Well, I mean, I was a serial monogamous dater. How do you call it, serial monogamy? I was always in a relationship.
Which is so charming. Nobody does that anymore.
I mean,
right,
yeah.
Alex? P.S.
Yes.
So I was always with somebody. So the past 5 years, I'm like, I kind of really want to marry myself and really find what true love really is, and that's internal. I mean, it sounds cheesy. It took me 35 years to understand that aspect, but when you do, it's a complete freeing experience. So that's what the song is really for. Love song to the world. I want people to tap into that.
Well, I think it's so exciting, and the rest of your music, by the way, is as equally as exciting.
Thank you.
This is the latest single.
Yeah. Thank you for pushing that. I love it.
Oh, of course. Alex.
Yeah.
Talking about music.
Yeah.
In your youth.
Yeah.
Heavy metal band.
Yes.
What are some of the band stories? You've had some parking lot stories, which was kind of recreated in yeah, right? There's a little biographical, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, no, I started playing like my first basically my first gig was I had a bunch of high school friends that would by the way, I'm a little loaded right now. Just got to let you know that.
Girl, you're 6'5". I can drink you under the table.
Yeah, you could.
I'd like to.
But so I like my buddies were playing music, and I would go and watch them play music after we would after school, and I would just hang out and watch my friends play these songs, and then all of a sudden their bass player quit, and the talent show was the next day, and they basically said, "Okay, Alex, just put on this bass and just hit that big fat string as fast as you can, and then put your finger on the second fret as fast as you can, and just do that." I was like, I could do that. So basically the first time I got on stage was at a talent show in front of like all these high school kids, and then I kind of froze because I forgot this stuff, and then I realized, well, if I turn down the volume on my bass, I'll pretend that the sound guy is screwing up, and then I just airbanded
Oh my God,
the whole
that's
thing.
brilliant.
That is kind of brilliant.
And then I just airbanded the whole show. And that's when I went, okay, this is what I want to do, but I got to learn how to play. And then I was the same guys. I love the guys to death. We played for years all over Canada. And it was one of those things where it was, and that's the thing. Being a boxer, being 6'5", and you're playing metal, people want to fight all the time. And so they usually want to fight the singer. Yeah, they usually want to fight the singer, so they always point to me to kind of take care of it. And there's a few times, I'll tell you this one little story that I'm really not too proud of. But
let's do it.
Yeah, okay, so what happened...
TMZ, are you listening? Jonathan Walker, write this into season 3.
So we're playing at a bar in Winnipeg, and this one guy is just heckling like crazy, which is fine.
Why do people do that, though? It's like, then you get up here.
It's all good. Like, I get it. It's all good. But he was getting a little bit rambunctious. And so I'm playing, and I had really long hair, and I was looking through my hair, and all of a sudden, this beer bottle comes whipping by and just missing us. So in a heartbeat, I drop my bass, and I run across, hit 2 tables, and do a big swing on the guy that's sitting down. Just miss him. As I go around the table, he's in a wheelchair.
Oh no.
And I'm doing everything to go, like thank God I didn't connect, but then I was like, don't throw stuff. And then I went back and started playing, thank God I didn't hit the guy in the wheelchair.
Can you imagine that viral video? I'd be like,
my God. Like Laura was looking out after me because I just missed him too.
All right, answer this or don't. I probably got about 30 emails, and it was this just one question. Single question mark.
Really?
You don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
What does it say? You took a drink before you answered the question.
Yeah. Well, there was some rumors, and I know that there was a public. So I'm not going to ask you.
There was rumors? Yeah, single.
Oh my God! Everybody just died.
Your eyes just like lit up.
No, not for me. I like Alex for his lady, international lady. You're going to get so many emails now.
Yes.
No, I'm sure it'll be fine.
With more used dildos, I guess.
No, oh God, no.
Scott, you took it to a different level.
One's enough.
No, remember he said someone sent him one of those, right?
Vibrator.
Is that the same thing?
But is it really a difference?
Maybe in your world it is.
Same size. Same size, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
All right, Scott, we're gonna get a little bit deeper. Obviously,
speaking of dildos,
keep it classy.
No pun intended.
We have a gentleman here.
No pun intended.
Being a medium, psychic, clairvoyant, this is my personal biggest question. I'm obsessed with mediums and the afterlife. I guess because as we get older, we question our own afterlife.
Right.
In your mind and with what you've experienced with visions, what happens to us when we die?
Well, I kind of always make this analogy, like kind of, I don't know if you guys ever tried virtual reality, and I'm sure if you haven't, you can understand the idea.
Oh, I've tried it. It's not that reality.
The porn version, because they have porn, I think, virtual. But if imagine putting on a virtual reality headset, like you can explore that realm, and it's a little limited, but you can explore it, have fun with it. But when you're done, you take off the headset and you're
living our life.
Well, I'm sorry.
We put that on when we're living, right?
Yeah, like in the living life. Yeah, I'm just using that as an analogy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this. Your physical body is like that viewer. You know what I'm saying? So your consciousness is projecting through your body. So your body's limiting the frequency of higher dimensions. We're in 3-dimensional reality. There's a possibility up to 14 dimensions. I think 22 now. So we're only perceiving 3. So when you are done projecting your conscious through your physical body, you're aware of all the other dimensions. So just as you're conscious now, you'll always be conscious. Always. It's just in a different format.
So I'll always be me. I'll always have my identity.
Yes.
I'll always have my relationships with other people.
Yeah.
Then where do I go?
Well, there's different levels of experience of reality. So again,
Do I get a bigger house?
If you want. I mean, here's the thing. It's in the higher dimension, there is like, it's more instantaneous. We're not bound by space and time as we are here in this dimension. So, of course, there's a time lag between things that manifest. So in the higher dimensions, when you perceive of something, you're kind of instantly there in that reality. So it's kind of like a dream state, more so. So, yes, per se, if you want a bigger house, you choose that experience, or you might have, go into other dimensions and so forth and have different experiences. But here we're doing the same thing. It's just we have the time lag. So that's why a lot of people, they're kind of bound by this physical persona, but they limit themselves out of fear. I can't do it and so forth. And so that's why a lot of things don't manifest. But like he was saying, with Anthony Hopkins and so forth, it is about believing, that you're on that level already. And when you do, it's almost like the reality shifts with you. So, we're here just to experience the process of things.
Preach!
Yeah, but we are here to experience the process of things.
But when we pass, we don't stay on Earth. There's so many other galaxies.
But Earth is the physical matrix, as you'd say. I don't want to use that word, but it is. Earth is the.
I need a dictionary just to talk to you.
I'm trying to be simple.
How dare you, sir? We are cutting edge here.
Right, exactly.
He's trying to help you out there.
I'm trying to feed it there. But yeah, Earth is kind of like the playground. Is one playground. So imagine there's so many different layers of playgrounds you get to play on, and so Earth is just one 3-dimensional realm.
So is death sort of a release?
Death is an awakening.
It's an awakening.
It's an awakening. So imagine where you're limited. I tell people, you don't have eyes to see. You have eyes to limit what you're seeing. What you see is to filter out dimensions. So when you pull out, you actually have an awakening. And you're like, oh, I have all my senses again. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You get that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do some people after the afterlife or in the afterlife,
Yes.
why do they stick around
They
more
don't.
than others?
They don't.
It's us wanting them to?
You can connect with them because they're not in the physical plane like we are, so they don't need to hover around a house and being sad that their house is being sold. I mean, that doesn't make sense. But
so then how do you explain all the
the ghost shows, right?
Right.
Well, what they're doing is tapping into parallel realities. So because everything exists now, and this is the great Einstein and Tesla has always been preaching this. The parallel realities are you can tap into those past realities. They may call it residual energies, but you can actively tap into past, spiritual entities and so forth. So you can actually cross communicate. Just as if some people have had alien abductions, but it was their future self coming back. You know what I'm saying? We are multidimensional beings, and that's one thing that I think people can't really fathom in the physical brain, within this world. But that's actually what's going on. It's
I can barely feed my dog on a regular basis.
So,
I can't take care of myself in one dimension.
Exactly. So more or less all the other dimensions, This is why
Alex is thinking, oh, God, I could act in this and this and this and that in all these dimensions.
You could be a polygamist.
Yes, I
multiple relationships. Yeah.
No, but his acting roles. Alex is going to be a star in every single dimension.
Every single dimension. Yeah. But that's really what's going on. And so they are the experiences, and like we said before, what they're experiencing is real. But again, the demonic creations there's no power of assertion. Everything has to be done with allowance. That's the power of the law of free will. So within the law of free will, nothing can assert itself onto you because again that would break the laws of free will. So that's existence in general, actually.
I'd be doing a big disservice if I didn't mention the Real Housewives of Orange County, where we first saw you. Did being on a reality show change your fan base?
I've always been an introvert, so for a lot of time I really didn't.
It's so hard to believe. I really don't believe.
Well, because I've been strategic with my career. I said I want to learn everything before I start putting myself out. I want to learn. I'm doing the composing thing and so forth. The composing thing. I'd love if I just throw it out like nothing. But I was doing
that old thing.
But that old thing. Those are the words. But I wanted to learn. I didn't want to be a manufactured artist, so I didn't really have a quote-unquote fan base, just my friends and family. So now's the time I'm doing it. But being on the reality shows changed my perspective about reality shows. I realized they are real. I used to think that maybe they're, massively set up, and I'm like, nope, they actually are that real and that crazy.
Let's take a look at the clip where I first saw you. You guys, whether you follow Bravo TV's Housewives like I do, this caused one of the biggest upsets in this franchise in Orange County.
This is going to be all new to me, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Oh, Alex, this is going to be your new guilty pleasure.
Okay, go.
Take a look at...
We actually have a friend, Vicky. Her mother just passed, and her boyfriend has cancer right now.
She does have a great heart.
She does.
And she's very... hold on.
Dramatic.
Give me a second.
They gotta show that, right? They gotta show.
I don't know. Here's the thing. Maybe I'm picking up on the energy of people who think about that. I have a wishy-washy perspective on that.
On what?
So that's why on the cancer issue, it's just wishy-washy to me. I just don't see it.
So he doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
You don't see cancer at all? I don't know.
I can't imagine someone would do that. Who would fake cancer? I just don't have a place in my brain for that concept.
Why would somebody do that?
So we do find out.
I knew somebody who did that.
Really?
One of my.
Okay, what happened?
I have
So we
anxiety.
find out-
I have anxiety
But you guys,
watching that.
it was a huge thing, and it was what you said. I remember when I first saw you on the show because I'm addicted to all the Housewives. I was like, oh my god, that's so ridiculous because it was a huge thing. Brooks's cancer was a huge thing, and one of the lead Housewives, Vicky Gunvalson, was supporting him, and she was telling everybody, how could you doubt this? Medical records started to be in question, and it carried on, I think, for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then at the reunion, it became apparent that, no, he never had cancer, and he faked his own documents. But he presented such great documents, it would be silly to say that he wasn't.
Yeah.
So
he didn't
he
have
admitted
cancer.
that he faked it?
So
Yeah.
yeah, because he had City of Hope.
But it ruined friendships that had been together for 10 years.
Yeah, he showed City of Hope documents, and they City of Hope says we never treated him, and those are not real.
So
documents.
why did he do that?
Attention, and he didn't expect somebody like Scott to come in and say, hey.
I have anxiety. Watching that, I get anxiety. I mean, that was not easy.
Because that's not what you do. You're not a sensationalist. In
I'm
fact,
not.
What I love
that was the it was not the intention to go on for that. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, Tamara feels." Let me tell you something. When I met Tamara, we weren't talking about the show. She's going through a cussy bout all the time. So
right. Well,
I have
she's
to
your
say,
friend.
Yeah. So that was not our conversations with that show because when she wasn't filming, it wasn't topic of conversation. So she wanted me to go on to just to read the girls. It'd be fun. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. And I said to myself, Scott, step outside of your box, do something you wouldn't do. And I said, all right, let me go and do it. Right. And I did. And so when the question came up, I just saw deception. And so it was hard for me
that's
because
crazy because it was
crazy.
True.
Yeah, that is crazy.
And it was such the producers should have sent you a check for $1 million because it was the most unexpected arc. Who would fake cancer on a reality TV that was so popular? Mona,
Okay, are we going to get a 3rd season?
Of 3rd season of what?
Van Helsing.
It's about 60% chance.
That's fantastic.
60%.
It depends how shirtless you are.
Well, yeah, it's again because right now it's about the probability because again everything is created in real time. So right now it's a 60% probability it will.
Yeah.
There's a go ahead.
No, and this is what I love about your website
so
and our interview in Bear World. He can't predict the future in a crystal ball. He reads the energies going into what you're talking about, and if people continue with that energy, it'll manifest.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. That why I say probability because certain things are 100% aligned. Where I say this will definitely manifest, you know, and especially reading them now is a lot easier. But because we have free will and create reality, I can see if something is partially aligned and whatnot, give them the probability rate. And also when I coach my clients, I tell them this is how you can boost up that alignment.
Right.
If it's not fully aligned, or I could say, hey, I don't see anything there at all. And so you got to create it,
Are they going to kill me in the 3rd season?
Yes, the Husky Latino's going to kill you. Jonathan Walker.
No, in that 3rd season, no, I don't see that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be so funny if Julius was killed by Nathan Lane?
They can't.
Scott, would you do your own reality show?
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to anything. I mean, for me, with what I do, I think I like bringing awareness to people. And so to me, having a platform to kind of bring awareness to people, to make, what they've sensationalized with mediums and psychics, and bringing this kind of normal spin to it. Cause I mean, I'm not with nails and, and puffy hair or, or just saying, forcing people to believe in what I'm saying. I kind of want to bring more of that kind of down to earth, simplistic.
It seems like it would be a real service nowadays to people because, this kind of post-organized religion reality that we have where people are independently seeking out what meaning is for them.
Right.
I would think that would make, your insight more important.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing. I think Alexander had asked me before, being more spiritually aware, has it changed your life in what way? And I said, it's actually made me more grounded. It's made me more human. Because when I realize, oh, we're here for this purpose, and we have this, this higher perspective, I feel more grounded as a human, And
you're living in truth and authenticity, right?
Exactly.
Even more so because you even understand what truth
right.
and authenticity
and
is
I'm not
for you.
sitting in a cloud and like I had to run away from negativity. I'm like, no, polarity is what drives this reality. It's what brings definition. So, I love even the negative aspects as well.
So you probably, I would imagine you embrace
absolutely
that.
Absolutely. I don't see the world like that it needs to be saved. I see the world as that it's already saved. And that, the fact that we have free will and choice, that, we choose different roles in life. And so without those roles, what are we going to be? A void of energy without negativity, just a walking void of energy, not knowing itself. And that's the whole point of polarity.
I have one personal question. So
clear your throat for that.
12.
Clear the throat.
12.
Crack the
it's kind of serious, and with somebody that suffers from dementia or Alzheimer's, and they're still trapped here in this world.
They're not trapped,
but mentally
No,
they're not here. So
it's not trapped. They're choosing to have a more limited experience without. Because if you look at a lot of people who have dementia, they probably overprocessed their life too much. So they kind of want to leave the physical plane by not overprocessing. So they're kind of just experiencing it for what it is. So they're not trapped. I always tell people it's always worse on the observer than it is the person experiencing it. So, if you see someone get murdered, they're passed on and they're having, a better perspective, but you're suffering more by observing and watching it. So especially those with dementia, they're not processing reality like we are observing that difference. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
So where's their soul? So
their soul's still here. They're still conscious, but they're just choosing to have more of a limited experience to process this reality in a different way. Again, that's experience. If they didn't want to have that experience, they would have, emerged onto non-physical. They would have awakened. They're still choosing to see life through that lens.
Well, it probably explains why a lot of people with dementia hang out.
Yeah, and
they stay
exactly
in this reality longer.
Right. And I tell people they have that awareness of both sides of that. Oh, I can see what's on the other side, and I hate saying the other side, but for layman's terms, they can see the differences, and they realize they kind of are in between, the two.
But
dimensions.
if it puts stress on a caregiver or a family member,
that's to teach them a lesson. To teach them a lesson. The person caregiving them needs to learn a valuable lesson to that extent.
Caregivers deal with a lot. That's a pretty hard lesson.
But
it's not so much about being a hard lesson. It's a challenge that person's going to grow spiritually, because without lessons in life, we're not going to expand. And through our expansion, even though the person may not understand it, through that expansion, that's why we have eternal life. That's why we live in a world of infinity, is because we get to grow and expand into our charlenges, through our expansive consciousness. That's what gives you that kind of all-knowing, all-seeing perspective. So.
But I've had an experience where somebody that was going through Alzheimer's, and they were getting really frustrated that they were forgetting, and they were getting really frustrated that they were going to be a burden, and that they wanted to take themselves out because they didn't want to be here anymore because they were going through that.
Right. How many people have actually had that experience without having dementia? I've had that experience where I wanted to commit suicide and leave this plane because I don't understand my challenges. I went through suicide. I tried to take my life many times because of being gay, being Christian, a Pentecostal Christian, and being abandoned. I wanted to kill myself too, but I wasn't seeing the bigger picture. But looking back at this, I say I'm so glad I had that experience. I wouldn't be Scott Cruz now, and with all the experiences I have and the awareness I have now, if it wasn't for those experiences. So even though they're close to death, it does not mean they're not. That's the final lesson. It means it's going to continue on, for them to grow and expand what they need to expand onto. But again, they're not processing it the same way, that frustration, as you're seeing it. It's still different processing for them, even though it appears very much like frustrated energy. But they're experiencing quite differently than we think. Because even when I was suicidal, I felt carried. You know what I'm saying? With the moments I tried taking my life, I felt like, you're better than this. I just had that feeling, you know what I'm saying? And I had this kind of I'm not scared. It's almost like me being suicidal and doing this, said I'm a badass, I'm going to do this. I kind of found my power in it. And I said, well, if you have this power now through this, you have more to live for. And that's when I really kind of turned it around. So, yeah, I've had those challenging experiences. But, when we see the bigger picture. And look, we may not see the bigger picture. Some people may not see the bigger picture in this lifetime and may awaken and realize, oh, crap, I played that game kind of crappy. Let me try playing it in another way. So it's understanding that higher awareness will kind of make sense what's going on here, too, if you play the game wrong.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah, this just got it.
Yes. All right.
You said deep, right?
No, but I
awesome.
really appreciate that, because that's an insight that we never take time to think about it. We're always go, go, go. Yeah. And, we have our images to play.
And fear kicks in so hard,
sure
in those kind of aspects that Rich really kind of dictates how you think when
spiders.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can just push the fear aspect off to the side and see the facts and
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's sort of like if you could just replace fear with something that serves you better.
Right.
And you hit the
Vodka, yeah.
but you hit the nail right on the head, because what is fear? Fear is actually focusing your perspective in a way that doesn't serve you, and that's very fearful. So you're exactly right. If you actually shift the perspective and use that fear as a, like we say, an inspiration to project a different thought, you're going to start feeling a different, feedback, as you'd say.
But we often feel powerless with fear.
That's the whole point. Because that's the contrast. Because, again, if you continue to focus on that fear, you're going to get that feedback for sure.
All right. Let's take a breath.
Wow.
Real fast, Alex, and we have to close out the show.
Yeah.
Alex, when you go to the movies or you're watching TV, what is it that you're watching?
When
you're in almost everything, it's like, God, can we take a break?
Honestly, when things take me through the story, it's all about story for me. Like I'll be there for the whole ride if the story's being told well.
So what was the last TV show that you watched?
Well, I rewatched The Office. I
love The Office. I binge watched The Office.
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
The BBC one.
BBC, but the American
one.
I love
Steve Carell. I gotta.
He's great, but man, the BBC one is so
That's your
great.
favorite?
It's so uncomfortably funny.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
That's
it was
Ricky
before
Gervais
its
all
time.
over it.
And it was before its time.
Yeah.
So what was the last movie that you actually sat in the dark, got your popcorn?
That was Mother. I just went to go see Mother.
What'd you think of Mother?
Oh my God.
Good. Yes.
Can we swear?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of this of like, the fuck is going on? There's a lot of that.
But
that's Darren Aronofsky, right?
But my favorite film of all time is Requiem for a Dream. It was so.
That's a different level. That's a different level. I love that movie.
That's a great movie. I love it.
So good.
Yes.
It's literally. I listened to the soundtrack to meditate, which is weird because it was such a
good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna finish up the show with our rapid fire for both of you, but real fast. Who's coming up on the show next week? We have some independent horror filmmakers. We're going to talk about independent filmmaking. We have Stephanie the Haunted Doll. If our listeners remember her, she's coming back to the studio. When she's in the studio, crazy things happen. I just heard Joanna Cassidy is coming to the show. She was in Roger Rabbit. She was in the original Blade Runner, but also she was in 6 Feet Under, which is one of my favorite shows. And she's in Bravo TV's Odd Mom Out, which I love her. Marco, the fashion designer, is coming up with his runway models to join the show before his runway show in LA, and it's always a crazy time. And then, we have different people. We have porn star Arad from Men.com coming with Andrew Christian. And we're going to talk, not about porn, we're going to talk about how he came to the career, his exile from Iran, from the military. So it's going to be interesting.
Diverse.
You never know what's going to be on The Rocks.
And Andrew Christian's bringing underwear?
Well, he brought, great books last time. Okay, who wants to do rapid fire first?
You probably already know the question.
Come on, big guy. I cut it. Yeah, he did too. Come on, you go.
All right, let's go. I'll go.
Your dream co-star.
My dream co-star? Jennifer Connelly.
Who was in Requiem for a Dream? She's so good.
Yeah.
And she never ages.
She doesn't act. She doesn't work enough.
That's true.
Really,
which might be good because when she does something, it's great.
And you know nothing about her. You know nothing about her either.
That's
it's great.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
It's true. No, you're right.
It's great.
The role you would go back in time and film the original.
Rocky.
Yes, that's so
That's
weird.
good. That's good. That's good. I like that.
Your favorite song to sing?
Everlong by Foo Fighters.
I have to talk to you about my time with Courtney Love, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
That must have been...
It was intense. It was 1 month in her bedroom, us locked in.
What?
Yes.
What?
It's the craziest Courtney Love story you've ever heard, and she and I hung out for a month in her bedroom with the doors locked.
That's crazy. Yep. That's
how
a movie.
How do you drop that and just leave it there?
Yeah, exactly. Right?
The whole show.
Because I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it.
What do you mean?
My best friend at the time became her personal assistant, and she was entranced with me.
Wow.
Her favorite musical is Sound of Music, but she was
Do you see our
singing
faces right now?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So we talked about David Grohl all the time.
Oh, yeah, she's not a fan, is she? Yeah.
What are your trailer personal items like you just have to have? Not like, bottle water and this. Your personal items.
Well, I need some weights in there. I gotta have some weights in there. And porn.
Yes.
Really?
I just had to kind of turn you from the weights.
Yes. Yes.
Is that true?
No, just the weights though. Yeah.
But like a family photo, a rosary, or
no, not necessarily. A
rosary.
I don't where did that come from? No, just some weights, and I'll bring some stuff like some like a little ghetto, little speaker, and that's about it.
A ghetto speaker.
Yeah, a ghetto speaker.
You're so low maintenance.
I was gonna say ghetto blaster.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You went old school and
I went old school.
Brought it back.
And what is your guilty pleasure?
What is my guilty pleasure?
I can hear that breath,
Right?
very loud in these
He's
headphones.
trying to filter through what he's
I am.
That's what's happening.
Which one are you going to
Trying
share?
to filter, and I don't know. Like I like a glass of scotch.
This is my guy right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that.
This is like a bad cop, good cop show. Like,
No, we're on point. We're on point.
I'm like supporting him.
No,
absolutely.
Don't touch each other in front of me.
They keep moving closer. Did you
Yeah,
notice
the-
that?
the
They're
sound.
way
I'm
over
out of
there on the
shot.
other side of
They
the
keep saying I'm out of shot. And I'm like, I don't want this guy to beat me up.
It's all right. It's all right. I'll share.
Kind of falling as no.
Just give another shout out to your females across.
Oh, the Cuddle Puddle, the
Yeah.
Cuddle Puddle Nation. Again, yeah, I can't say enough. They've been nothing but supportive and always supporting everything that I do. So they've been fantastic.
And where can our listeners find you?
Aleks Paun, ALEKSPAUN, at Twitter or Instagram, and Aleks Paunovic on Facebook.
And it's ALEKS.
That's right.
Right. Scott, you're up.
What's the question?
Strangest thing to happen to you.
You're supposed to know.
There we go.
What is the strangest thing to happen to you during a reading?
My guides and spirit left while I was channeling. So basically, when I'm getting information, it's when I was like in training, I guess, a medium in training, and they just completely left, bailed on me. There was no information, no data. I'm like in the middle of the session.
Why do you think they bailed?
They were laughing, by the way. I think because they wanted to see how much I can really kind of reel in the connection back.
Interesting. They were testing you.
It was a great test because it threw me off, but then I had to refocus, and when I did, they came back, and so it really taught me how to reconnect and sustain the connection. So it really taught me a lot, but it was very embarrassing, I have to say. I'm like, I realized I can't. You can't cold read. It would be impossible, and I couldn't even do that to even save my life when they disappeared. But it definitely was a great experience, but weird.
God, I love that. Your binge food. We know you don't eat sugar.
I like pork rinds, sunflower seeds. I do make like chocolate fat bombs out of like coconut oil and cocoa and yeah.
Rebel.
And chocolate. Yeah. It's all this fatty shit I like, yeah.
What is the guilty pleasure TV show that you watch?
Oh, I keep that TV off, but I love. Can I just name a few? Because
yeah.
Like I binged watched like Drag Race. I was like had my nose up against, and I watched. I'm like, that's a good show. Right now I've been binge watching The Office, the U.S. Office again. But I kind of don't watch much TV though. I don't have cable. I stay away from it. I'm always in creative mode, so I just don't influence myself too much with TV.
We are never going to hang out.
I do Netflix and chill though, so I do kind of like documentaries, horror movies. I've watched every horror movie, but yeah.
Love horror films, love them,
yeah.
Except for Annabelle Creation and It.
Yes.
Uh-oh. What would the name of your biography be?
Oh my God, really? Me. That's simple. Me.
That's not egotistical at all.
It's a biography.
It's a biography.
Thank you.
Actually, it's taken by, I think, Katharine Hepburn. I think her biography is called Me.
Then It.
Well, you'd be in all the Google searches.
Exactly.
Musician, Beyonce or Gaga?
Oh, really? You give me that selection?
Yep. Rapid fire, hurry up.
I'd say Gaga because she does play her own instruments and she, is...
Love that answer. Where can our listeners find you?
I am on iTunes. Just posted some new stuff on there, so it's very new. So Rescue's on iTunes, Amazon. You can find me on Facebook, Scott Cruz Official. I think it is, right, Craig? Something like this? I don't know. Who knows? And also Instagram. I think the Instagram is Scott Cruz. If you look me up, you'll definitely see it on Instagram as well. So that's Scott Cruz.
The Scott Cruz.
The Scott Cruz, yeah. They've changed it, so I don't remember some of them.
Michael, where can we find you and follow you?
Michael Ferrera on Facebook.
How exciting!
I know, right?
It's got the chills.
It's kind of easy, yeah.
M Ferrera 7466 on Instagram, and yes.
Thank you, Mama
Twitter.
Rose, for being in the chat room and
We love
communicating
her.
those questions. We
We
do.
love Mama Rose.
So,
I love
Mom,
her.
Scott said his mom is kind of crazy. We got to get them.
No, it's not crazy, but my mom is like, she's very hands-on, and I love that. I'm a mama's boy.
Mine's the same. I'm a mama's boy too. Like
And so is Michael's.
We are full of mama's boys
Yeah.
in this.
And my dad knows. My dad steps out of ways. Like, I'll let them do their thing.
Yeah, it's true. My dad.
But my dad connects, just as well too. So,
Chris, thank you for your first time with the show.
Way to go! We popped his cherry. We popped Chris's cherry. Yeah.
You guys, I love my listeners so much. You can see us on video and on audio. The only thing I ask you is, and this happens with radio, interact with our social media because we've been taking little clips, little boomerangs. Go to On the Rocks On Air on Twitter and Instagram. I know you're out there. Come find us. We love you. We'll see you. We'll see you next Tuesday.
yes.
Nice.
Let's get a selfie.
This has been On the Rocks with Alexander, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Universal Broadcasting Network. Find me on Facebook on the Rocks Radio Show. Tweet me or Instagram me at On the Rocks On Air. See you next Tuesday!
Hi.
Hello.
So what are you called?